What's up guys, welcome to today's video, and today we are going to be checking out the Gotham Knights final preview. Let's check it out guys, this should be good. Oh, damn.
Over the course of our month-long IGN First coverage, we saw a lot about the world and lore of Gotham Knights, the crafting and gear mechanics,
Hey,
the
looking
suits
mad.
and customization options, but there's been one
Hey.
green Riddler-esque question mark surrounding the whole game up to this point. How does it play? Well, I played about 3 hours of it at a recent hands-on event, and the answer is, well, it's complicated. What's for certain, at least, is that Gotham Knights is a wildly ambitious effort that feels appropriately massive and dense, to the point where even a heavily guided 3-hour demo felt like just a scratch on the surface.
I bet. I proper bet. It's looking banging though.
My demo was broken up into 4 chunks. I played the tutorial that involved following a lead on Batman's last case, then jumped into a new save to play the first chapter of Harley Quinn's multi-part villain arc, then continued with several open world challenges related to Harley's story, and to put a cap on the event, I jumped into a late game save that let me and the internet's own Destin Legary face off against Harley in the finale of her arc. And that leads to one of the main reasons why my takeaways from this event are complicated. Gotham Knights is a game that is centered around building up your character, setting and understanding your own skills and gear, and developing your own playstyle. Something that I just didn't really get to do, since I was jumping around to different save files and trying out the different characters. Without that feeling of building up my own character and progressing through their skill tree, combat felt like it was missing a key ingredient. On a very basic level, Gotham Knights combat is built on the foundation of the Batman Arkham games. But once you get past the shallow waters, things go in very different directions. Here's where things will be familiar. You press the direction and the attack button, and your character gracefully spins, leaps, or slides towards the closest enemy for a quick strike that initiates a combo. Enemies will also telegraph their own attack with an icon that appears over them, giving you plenty of time to dodge out of the way to avoid damage. It's all super smooth, there are a ton of slick animations, and you're even rewarded for timing your button presses as opposed to just button mashing. Just like in the Arkham games.
Yep.
And that's it. That's where the comparisons end, because everything else feels very different. Gotham Knights is much more abilities focused, with a meter at the bottom right that governs.
Yeah guys, and I think this meter here, it's gonna be kind of like, you know how like if you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the latest Saints Row, like even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, when you're holding like either the right bumper or trigger, or R1 or R2, like you'll get to activate one of these abilities and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks like they're gonna have a lot of different ones. I won't be surprised if while the game is out we're gonna get updates to certain moves, like, you know what I mean. It should be banging still, like especially if they put certain enemies and then now we can use like abilities that are to do with those enemies and stuff like that, you know what I mean. Like if we was to defeat Mr. Freeze, we'll most likely get, you know, some type of freeze multiple enemies type of devices, and you know, that's how, at least what I'm thinking. Or you do certain special challenges like some of the other Batman games, you had to do like 15 mad challenges as you're going through the game, and you get special abilities unlocked. And judging by the way it looks, one looks like kind of golden, one's purple, and I'm guessing there's probably going to be different levels to this shit, if that makes sense. The golden one is probably the like mad ability that you activate that lets you kind of go into a rage mode, if that makes sense. Maybe, I'm guessing.
Your ability to use your momentum skills. As you'd imagine, you gain meter by dealing damage and using your dodge to avoid attacks with good timing. Once you fill a bar, you can use one of your 8 equipable momentum skills for a variety of different uses. Red Hood has a close-range throw that deals a ton of damage to a single target. Robin has a holographic distraction that he can throw down to take some heat off of him and the team. Batgirl can toss out a Batarang barrage to deal a bunch of piercing damage right in front of her. And Nightwing has a cool acrobatic leap attack that lets him get the jump on an enemy from far away. There were also moments where certain momentum abilities were the key to defeating specific enemy types that were armed with powerful armored attacks. Piercing abilities beat armored attacks, for instance, so anytime I saw an enemy with a red attack warning, I had to counter with my own piercing attack, whether that was Batgirl's Batarang Barrage or Robin's Staff Spin attack.
And I must say, guys, this does definitely makes it more interesting. That means, yeah, not only we are like learning certain, like, you know, how when we played Batman, there was certain takedowns and certain locations to take down. It was more like we already know how Batman works, and we more like use the environment in different ways. While here, we could probably still have a lot more mechanics in using the environment in different ways, but we also have to learn more on different types of enemies, like which abilities work better and stuff like that. So that means the guys that do their homework on the enemies should be benefiting way more than guys that are just casually like running through. But you know, guys running through might get lucky enough and have certain ones that just have a nice combo of abilities that pretty much weaken most enemies, if not all enemies. So there should be different types of builds. It should make it very interesting. It's gonna be sick.
All of this sounds great, and I'm very much looking forward to the progression of getting to unlock new momentum abilities, purchase skills that synergize with them, find and craft new pieces of gear, add mods that further enhance certain effects, and find a preferred playstyle for each of my characters when the game actually comes out.
Yeah.
My concern is how well that progression, those momentum abilities, the gear, and the deep well of customization options are going to be able to carry the whole experience. Because, on a fundamental level, I found Gotham Knight's combat to be very flashy, but also kind of bland. Fights quickly started to feel very routine, with very similar enemies in every encounter, to the point where I felt like I had to mix up my tactics, not because I was being forced to, but just to try to make things a little more interesting. My favorite character ended up being Red Hood because he excelled at a hybrid style of both range and melee, which felt quite different from what everyone else was able to do.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, because he is playing a demo, and there's gonna be a lot of guys with early access and stuff like that. What they'll give you is most likely gonna be limited, and it's gonna be, as he said, only parts of the journey, if that makes sense, throughout the story of the game. So, with that being said, I personally think that like when we are going through the game, or at least I'm hoping that we are going to be starting off with limited abilities, having to do things a certain way, and then as we keep getting more abilities, we start getting introduced to, like, you know, benefiting in different ways by using those abilities and all of that stuff. And I really think that that's going to be a part of the journey. And keep in mind that they have put a big focus on the co-op as well. So yeah, like I think that is going to be one of the biggest features personally, like a lot of like people doing the whole team ups and seeing which teams are doing what together. I think that should make it very interesting.
He had some neat tricks, like being able to grab an enemy, place a bomb on them, and then kick them away so you can explode the bomb with a gunshot.
I'm not gonna lie, guys, that I'm getting a lot of Saints Row reboot vibes here, and I really hope it does not end up like that still, because that is there is a lot of things that I'm saying that I am realizing with the whole, you know, doing it co-op, doing these abilities. It's kind of the same process as Saints Row, but Saints Row failed mostly, in my opinion, because of the whole, you know, not really having like a banging story and more depth to it, and the characters were not really, they didn't really have much to them. They're not really memorable like that. But yeah, hopefully these guys do not go with the same method and it goes good still.
The other characters have their fun surprises too. They all generally control the same, which makes jumping between them very easy,
Nice.
but they
Different
each have
type
their
of
own
takedown.
combat slash stealth focuses and playstyles that are defined by what you put points into on their skill tree. Batgirl can be built to be a single target DPS machine, or a nearly uninterruptible tank that can self revive, or a stealthy hacker that can make herself invisible to security cameras. Nightwing
Nice.
can build himself to enhance his jumping abilities and deal massive critical hit damage. He can become a slippery acrobat that gets extra dodges
Shit.
and faster momentum meter gain, or he can be built more like a team leader designed for co-op play. Red Hood can lean more heavily into
Oh,
his range attacks by giving them higher.
I'm not even gonna lie. That is sounding crazy still. So that is gonna make perfect sense. There's gonna be a lot of guys having certain builds, especially for when they're playing with friends or whatever, and especially when they're playing by themselves as well. So this is gonna make things really much more interesting than like we have seen in previous games, I must admit. So I'm really interested to see how far they go with that concept. I really hope it does make like a dramatic difference, like not like a little difference that it's like it's alright, but you're not missing out if you don't do it. I hope it's like a good experience by implementing these things. So it should be good.
Crit chances and more damage, he can become more of a close-range bruiser that aims to get in and grab his opponents, or
Nice.
he can increase the damage he deals towards various different factions of enemies. And finally, Robin can build himself to have a game plan centered around his decoy. He can become a true Batman successor by investing in stealth skills, including Arkham game mainstays like Vantage takedowns, or he can focus on gadgetry and elemental damage. Just by glancing at the skill tree, it's easy to see that there's a lot to get excited about for each character every time you gain skill points. And that's where I'm torn on Gotham Knights. When I look at the skill trees, the locked momentum abilities, the wide variety of suits that I can unlock, and I think about going through it all with a buddy and taking on more challenging missions, I can't help but get excited at the idea of what Gotham Knights could be. But in my playtime with this demo, things were very far off from that idealized version. Beyond combat, Gotham Knights is very impressive. The city of Gotham is absolutely gorgeous.
Hey.
The many different modes of traversal are all fun in their own way,
Looking
whether that's
good.
by motorcycle, Batgirl's glide, Nightwing's glider, Red Hood's mystical air hops, or Robin's short-range teleportation. The Belfry seems like an awesome headquarters full of optional conversations that deepen the relationships between the four heroes. And you can even play Spy Hunter.
What?
And the cooperative play feels extremely well implemented. Since the demo was so focused on the Harley Quinn subplot, I didn't get much of a feel for the overall story of Gotham Knights and how the Court of Owls fits into everything, but I'm very into what I've seen of the characters so far. There are great dynamics between each of them, with the standout for me being between Red Hood and Nightwing. Nightwing's trying his best to step into the role of a leader, while Red Hood finds himself struggling between his thirst for violence and his desire to honor the legacy of Batman. There's a great scene in the Belfry where Nightwing inadvertently touches a nerve by bringing up a story that sets Jason off. And you really get to see the pain and anger that Red Hood is struggling to keep under the surface.
That's so sick.
What's worse? Having a chunk of my life taken away from me, or coming back to everyone thinking I'm gonna snap.
I'm sorry, Jason. We shouldn't have... I shouldn't have treated you like an outsider.
It's very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, and if Gotham Knights can pack the whole game with moments like this, then its characters will almost certainly become a highlight of the whole experience. Also, just so you know, this whole fight in the prison, it's set to a punk rock version of Livin' La Vida Loca.
Swear.
So, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Gotham Knights is not an easy game to demo, and while I walked away from my hands-on time less than impressed with many aspects of combat, I still found myself interested in playing more. We'll see how it all comes together when Gotham Knights releases on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on October 21st.
Holy shit, guys, this was certified still. I'm loving the preview. I'm loving the information that this guy's giving. I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be banging. I'm gonna be all over this as soon as it's released. I swear, within the hours that it's released, I'm gonna be all over this. Gonna be streaming this bad boy. We're gonna try to go through as much as we possibly can in a short amount of time. And before that, we are gonna be going through the old Batman games, so we are fresh with everything. And yeah, we'll see if there's any, like if they try to take certain bits that was from, of course, like the Batman game, like, when it comes to like how they do certain scenes and what people say, so we're all fresh with everything. But yeah, guys, comment down below on what you think, subscribe if you're new, like if you like the video, and I'll catch you all on the next one, guys. Bye.